Okay. Hello, Lucinda. Hi, Michael. Hi, guys. All right. I have to do some things beforehand. Now, I put the post title up as, I put the post title up as embodied spirituality. And I wanted to talk about what that means so that you understand, because my stuff might not be accurate in any of the things that I have lined up there. So what I want to teach you is how to access your own spirituality, right? This is something that I do in my groups. I help with healing and awakening, but leading you to that space of healing yourself, because you're the healer, and also teaching you along the awakening path how to embody spirituality, right? Because we're not meant to escape our body. We are meant to marry our spirit into our body, and that's how we effectively create heaven on earth. So I want to teach you how to do those things for yourself, because you're not supposed to be going to somebody who is constantly going to be, say, doing readings for you. You should be, if that's a way that you want to receive messages, then that's something that you should be learning how to do so that you can do it for yourself. If you're someone that wants to channel messages and likes to go and listen to people channeling, lifetimes, Dirk, and reading and researching, and probably because I'm on the spectrum, I have a very, I think, lots of us have great pattern recognition. I've spent a lot of time interested in that, right? Like when you're interested in something, I had to pause for a second because I was like, how do I say that? You really invest in the things that you're interested in, right? So if you're interested in revealing the truth, then you're going to keep seeking the truth. And if something like spiritual gifts matter to you, then you're going to look at information and content and books or classes about how to get those gifts online or whatever it is, right? So one of the things I can tell you is that every single one of us has access to all of those. No, there are certain things, there are truth of the truth, right? There are divine truths, just like there's divine laws or universal laws, right? There are certain things that exist within reality that they are. But this is beyond us looking at it from just purely the sense of your physical senses, right? We need to be looking at the fact that we have more senses than what we are typically educated on. For one, we don't get educated on the fact that every single one of us innately has intuition, especially when we are connected to our bodies. We start to listen to our bodies. We can very much tell when something is truth, when something's aligned, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Did that answer it? I don't know if I kind of went off a little bit there. So I just go where I'm guided to go. But it's what you're interested in, right? And if you're devoted to learning or you want to learn, then you will seek the things to learn the things, right? When we look at things in the past, there's a bunch of different times across a bunch of different cultures where the same information keeps coming up, right? Like there would be nothing to find across many different civilizations and cultures, information about the chakra system, right? As an example. So when you're seeing that information repeated across cultures, across continents, especially when there wasn't any, internet where they would have been able to share this information so readily. But when those things keep showing up over and over again, or in these different spaces, that's when you have to start to go, there has to be some truth in that. And it's more about, looking at the truth beyond all of the illusions that we're being taught. But that's the awakening. Mhm. So I like to talk about spirituality, but from an embodied sense, because if you are not living it, then it's not real, right? And I talk about that with self-help books. If it's just sitting on the shelf, it's not helping anybody but your shelf. It makes your shelf look intelligent, or it makes your shelf look like it's done some evolution, but you haven't. It's just sitting there collecting dust, right? I don't have a self-help book up there. I always look up there when I say that. And the book that's up there is How to Babysit a Grandma. And it was the book that my daughter-in-law bought me from my first grandson when he was a little guy, so that I could read it to him. And then I wrote him his own story later on when he was about 5. I think he was 5 when I wrote him his first story. And then his younger brother, I wrote him a story when he was 3. So yeah, published them too. Yep. Whatever you're interested in, you end up doing. Anyway, we got talking about how I'm going to teach you about embodied spirituality, which is that you are living the spirituality. You're living the truth of it. So I have to do something. I have to cleanse my cards, because if I'm going to do a check-in on the energy, I want to make sure that my cards are clean, and that they're not carrying any energy from before. So there's different things that you can smudge with. I love Palo Santo. It's just one of mine. And I do love white sage. Those are the two things. White sage is traditional for me. I am Mohawk, First Nations, Turtle Clan, and my first experience with white sage was just magical. So traditionally or ancestrally, I love white sage, but I just love the smell of Palo Santo myself. So I love that as well. So I'm just going to use the Palo Santo because it's readily available, and my white sage is over there. So I'm just going to use what's here at hand, and I'm going to clean my cards. I do have a door open. I have my patio door open. You want to make sure whenever you're cleansing or smudging that there's a door or window, right? If you're closed, then you're really not doing anything. Nothing has any, that needs freedom to leave, so to speak. All right, so let's see if I can get this to light up with a match, because, but I'm gonna smudge my cards. And while I'm smudging them, I'm asking them to be cleansed and cleaned, and, to be aligned with the divine, the highest good of all, that the messages come up that are necessary. Okay. And that any other energies that have come up before are cleared from the card. There's no attachments to anything. All right. So I'm going to let that sit there and smoke away. All right. And then I'm just going to knock the energy from it out. And that's that. Okay. We'll talk about a few different things tonight, I think. I don't know what we're exactly going to talk about, because you guys can always add some. You can always chat with me. All right, so let's see what the energies are for the collective. So this is just a collective energy reading. And what I do is I look at what the cards are that come out, and I talk about how that's showing up collectively for us. Like whether that's for you, maybe you're not experiencing that, but you might be seeing that other people are. You may see that very clearly. So this is not an individual reading, but you may find a lot of individual messages within the cards that come out, is what I'm going to say. I may start just doing some channeled messages, but for right now, let's see what the cards have to say. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. So there was one card that got away. So let's talk about this card first. It's the King of Fire. So where do we think that we are seeing the masculine energy in dysfunction or reversed or in toxicity. Like, I mean, the whole collective society, when we look at the patriarch itself is dysfunctional. It's not actually operating the way that our divine masculine energy is. It's been distorted, it's been twisted, it's been co-opted, right? There are elements that they have taken that are true, but a lot of what is there is false, right? It's not the way the divine masculine energy is. So we have all these men striving to be what society has declared masculine, which isn't even masculine at all. And every single one of us is masculine and feminine energy. We just chose to incarnate in a specific sex, right? But we are all androgynous as spirits because we've incarnated as men or women, or, like we've experienced many different lifetimes and on different planets. And, it's been, you have to open your mind, expand your mind. All right. So the King of Fire, this one, we're looking at the collective energy. We are seeing recklessness. We are seeing over controlling tendencies. Like, I know there's a lot of countries right now that are experiencing that, where they're seeing this increase of control measures. And we're seeing it collectively across the board everywhere that this energy is rising. Many people are burning out. Many people are resisting our own leadership. We have defaulted to giving our sovereignty away to everybody else, thinking that somebody outside of us honestly knows what's best for us. Now, there's a lot of dysfunction. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of stuff that needs to heal in society. But when we are a healed society, these things don't happen, right? We wouldn't resist our own leadership. We wouldn't need somebody external to us to tell us things. Oh, I appreciate you, Jaden. Thank you. So we're seeing this in the collective energy, right? We're seeing that that controlling energy, that recklessness, impulsiveness, right? That's the energy that's coming up with a lot of people right now, and especially in the leadership space, right? We're seeing that with a lot of our leaders. 12 on the time there. All right, we have the 9 of water, but the 9 of water in the shadow space. And when it's in the reverse, this is talking about emotional immaturity. And we see that all over the place. People just don't give a shit anymore. They have no problem. They don't care who you are. You don't know me. You've never met me. You jumped on, I'm sorry for what? Where's my reply? You're just yapping. So then you said, I'm sorry. And then you're saying no reply in the middle of me doing a reading, right? Like, this card is for you. It's talking about emotional immaturity, right? Like, where's your sense of entitlement? Why would you be rude to me? You never met me. You don't even know me. Why would you come in and the first thing and only thing that you've ever said to me be, you're just yapping? You're just yapping. Like, why? Like, what is wrong with you that you do that to other people? Like, significant emotional immaturity is what I would say. So there's my reply. This card is for you. You need to grow up, honey. Right? Some of us have blocked intuition, or we're dealing with doubt, or we have this fear of vulnerability. And it's because when in times before, especially as babies, when we were when we were vulnerable, when we were being vulnerable, that's when we weren't seen, or we weren't heard, or we weren't soothed the way we should have been. And that's what many of us need to do. We need to go soothe ourselves because we didn't get the love we needed from our parents. We didn't get taught how to manage our emotions. We've become such a rude and entitled environment. I had a tickle in my throat and I should have stopped reading and took a drink. All right, we've got the 8 of air. We're also seeing this in society, right? We're seeing a lot of people who are starting to realize that their minds are what is creating a lot of their problems. If you're spending a lot of time in your head and it's overthinking, or you're in fear, lack, or you're looking at all the, all the things on the news, all the popular culture, if you're listening to all the, the newest songs on the radio and watching all the newest movies and interacting with all of that energy, you're interacting with some very negative energy. And for many of us, we are breaking free from that. We're pulling our attention away from the things that we don't want to see in our society anymore, right? We don't want to see wars. So I'm not going to put my attention on war. We don't want to see people starving. So I'm not putting my attention on that. And we don't want to see this disparity. Like, I don't want to see someone wearing a disgusting outfit that looks like it was made of human skin to look like a boil, that paid $75,000 for a plate of food, while there's subsequently a war going on and also children starving and people, the cost of living and all like this. It just, to me, it's just absolutely preposterous that these things are existing at the same time. So people are seeing this and they're just like, wait a second, like, we got to put our attention on other things. And those other things that you're putting your attention on is your healing, it's your family or your loved ones, your friends. It's the things that benefit you and your reality. We're overcoming those fears because we're sitting with ourselves, maybe doing some integration, right? We're actually sitting with those demons or those shadows, the inner child. Many of us just need to sit and hold our inner child. We just need to give them a big hug. The Eight of Air is the one that reminds us that freedom begins in the mind. Many times we are the ones that are putting our obstacles in there. And thank you, Michelle, for following me. We're the ones that are creating a lot of the obstacles for us, and we create those obstacles so that we can rise above through those challenges, which is going to strengthen us in some way. Like if you're having a problem with finances, there's something that you're meant to learn or grow or experience in some way. And that can be in an individual capacity, or that could be in a collective capacity. Like we are all watching right now as things keep going like this. And everybody's going, oh my, like this is getting harder and harder and harder, right, to make ends meet. So we're collectively seeing that, which means that collectively we're going to change that, right? That's the way that it works. But individually, you have to change what is coming up for you. So if it's coming up for you, then there's a reason why. There's something that you need to look at, some patterns. So all of those patterns that you see coming up, they're coming up for you to review them and to move beyond them in some way. So there's something that needs to be healed, or something that needs to be learned, something that needs to be let go of. That can be a big thing too. Sometimes we just have a distorted belief system that keeps us holding on to something that we're meant to let go of. Sometimes we have clung to an identity that we don't need to be clinging to. Like it's absolutely silly. So yeah. The other card that came out is the Seven of Water. Oh, I didn't show it. The Seven of Water. Now, the Seven of Water came out in the upright position, and it's talking about choices and dreams and imagination and opportunities, wishful thinking, illusions, and spiritual awakening. And this is happening collectively in society. There's a lot of people that are waking up. They're starting to see that life is full of possibilities and that they are the creator of their reality, and what they focus on is going to grow. And what we collectively focus on is going to grow. So if we're collectively focused on war, we're going to see more war. If we're collectively focused on division, we're going to see more division. If we're collectively focusing on control, we're going to see more control. So we have to be focusing our attention and our energy on freedom, on sovereignty, on health, on what is the truth, on the divine laws, on, like on the things that we should be focusing on. All right. We also had the Ace of Earth, but the Ace of Earth came out in the reverse position. And when it's in the reverse position, there's this missed opportunity, financial insecurities, there's delays, instability, and scarcity mindset. And maybe you're somebody that card applies to, or maybe you can see how there are individuals in society that are dealing with this particular thing right now. And a lot of people are, where they are either dealing with the fact that there is financial insecurity, there is instability, or they have a scarcity mindset, because that exists as well. And so you have to determine, like, is this one of these me? Do I feel like I'm sitting in that space of financial insecurity? And if you are, then what is coming up for you so that you can make adjustments now, to keep yourself safe, to keep yourself protected. What is coming up with, if there's instability, same thing. Why is there that instability there, and how can you make it more stable? And with scarcity mindset, is there something that you can do to address your mindset, right? Like, what mindset work can you do that would help you so that you are at least not hindering yourself because of your mindset or your belief system or your traumas or anything else, right? And if there are reasons that you're feeling this instability or insecurity, then you at least are looking at it from a very stable space, like a conscious space of saying, okay, these things exist, and this is why they exist. So this is what I can do to mitigate any of the risk, right? Like, when we think about it from that way, but typically what happens is that this stuff happens to us, and because our nervous systems are not regulated, we go into almost like panic mode, but we don't feel it as panic mode. I mean, sometimes we do, but typically we just feel it as a normal day because we've been spending so much time in stress and overwhelm, we don't even know the difference anymore. Your body and your system, it becomes its capacity changes, right? And what becomes your normal is what you spend most of your time in. So if you're spending most of your time with your nervous system like really elevated, then you need to be addressing that and bringing your nervous system back down into that regulated space, right? That's something that you need to be looking at right away. When your nervous system is elevated all the time, you really have a challenge making clear decisions. It's very difficult. So that's something that we need to think about, right? Is where am I right now? Is my mind so overwhelmed with everything that's going on, and I'm operating out of fear or lack or instability or insecurity? If I'm operating out of that space, my nervous system is dysregulated, and then I'm not in the present moment, and I'm not going to be making clear decisions. What ends up happening then is your mind gets into this idea that it's going to try to fix the solution. And I'm doing this on purpose because your mind starts going like the Jack in the Box, right? And you're just like, oh my God, find a solution. Like, we can't keep going over this. I don't know how many times before I healed where my brain would just go over and over and over things. And you'd be like, oh my God, I thought I figured this out. I thought I was good with this. I thought I was okay with that decision. But the brain just and the reason why your brain does that is because your body doesn't feel safe. So until you create safety in your body, your mind is going to continually try to work on finding a solution. So you can benefit yourself by understanding that when you're having a hard time shutting your mind down, that you need to go to your body and make it feel safe. So through breath work, through somatic exercises, you can do tapping, there's EFT, there's those things are the stuff that I do in the Balanced Self Sanctuary, which is my one group that I have on my website, right? We would through the one class that I teach. So each month you get two live sessions. One session is a teaching session where we go over things like we would do a tapping session, or we would do a somatic session, or other types of things to help you learn practical tools that will support balancing you, so that you can find that balanced space. The other class or the other live is for us to sit and talk, and you get to share and you get feedback, and it's not therapy, but it's a supportive group environment with people that have lived experience of both trauma and healing from different aspects. Someone who is a nurse, as well as very spiritual, as well as someone who has like a religious background and spirituality as well. bunch of different things that we bring to the table. And so that's a really supportive environment for your healing journey that shows you practical tools that support you. And you learn all of these in a really supportive environment, plus education, right? On your nervous system, on your chakras, on all of that. But anyway, back to where we are headed. Okay. I think that I have said enough about the collective energy. I do need a drink. Lemon Balm team. Lemon Balm. All right. So I'm going to give myself a few likes because I don't understand how people come and sit and watch a live for a while, but don't tap on the screen. And so I'm just going to do it anyway, because you should start with loving yourself. And then I'm going to look at some of the other things that I wanted to talk about today before we do the celestial briefing, because that is the point of today. But I changed the title to embodied spirituality because that is what I'm going to be talking a lot about these days. Hi, Genuine. How are you, love? Because it's important. It's important that we're embodying the truth, that we're not just talking the talk, right? And we've seen that in society lately, where people have been getting caught with their pants down, so to speak, right? And that's because they were not embodying the truth. So I'm going to give myself some love on this screen too, because, self-love is important. So let me tapping that for a second. And then, like I said, I'm going to check on a couple things that I wanted to talk about. And then I'm going to hop off and let you guys go have a wonderful weekend. I will be talking about the celestial briefing in a moment. Okay. I gave myself some likes. Perfect. All right. I need my key. I need my mouse because I have a text document that has my planetary movements throughout the week. Hello, how are you? I love your name. How are you doing, love? So, can you believe we are literally at the last week of yes. It was funny because this is okay. I gotta show you. So I have a book I write in every now and then. And I haven't written in it for a while, but today I had a little journey and wrote in it when I had my journey. But I have a bunch of I've written in this throughout many different times. I mean, at one point in here, I was obviously reading the Yogananda, because that's what's written in here, was that I was looking at gene keys at one point. I talked about Lady Nada, Gandhi. I don't know. There was a lot of different things that I channeled in this book. But wait, there's a reason why I needed you to stick around, though. I just have to find it. So let me see. All right, where is it? Oh, was it there? Nope. Here. I swear. Well, I do have Nael, Unithael, Orithael, Uni, Shara, Carthiun, Doi, Kai, El. Where is it? Valshara, Lunaria. I know I've seen Veil. Yeah, I know your name. I know your name, and especially Veil. Like that, the veil part. I know that part. And I thought I had it written down in this book, but I must have been thinking of, of that, or one of the other ones that's written down in here. There is Vel, like Christ, Ara, Vel, Lunai, Torel. That might have been what I was thinking as well. That's the flower of origin is Christara is the flower of origin. Yeah, I have all kinds of. That'd be funny if I turned around and found it anyway, and it was in here, and I did have veil. Huh. Yeah, interesting notes in here. Yeah. Alrighty, let's see what we're going to talk about, because we got some fun things to talk about. You know me, I like to talk about fun things. You know what? Actually, I have a monad card for you. I don't give these cards out very often, so I make my own cards. I have, I don't know, numerous decks now, but I have at least 5 that are available to shuffle in the physical. Anyway, this deck I don't use very often because it's not for everybody. Some people would be like, I don't even understand what that means. What? But you will, so I can give you one. All right, so I'm just gonna. Okay. I just had to align my cards and then ask for the message that was in the highest good of your highest good. All right. I might give you 2. I'll because one fell on the floor. All right. Okay. So we're going to start with this one because this is pillar 1. Pillar 1 is sovereignty. And the message is no outside force governs your path. Okay. Your affirmation is I am governed by the flame within, not forces without. I say that every morning. I'm governed by the flame within, not forces without. The fire never dies. Absolutely. The other one that came out was oversoul compassion. Okay. Sorry, oversoul companion. I don't know, compassion companion. Sorry. Sometimes I can't even read my own writing. I mean, okay. Oversoul companion. You are never alone. One of your oversoul's soul streams is present now, walking beside you. Did you know that? Confirmation. Not as a guide, but as another version of you. Did you know that? So there is someone here who remembers what you forgot. So your action prompt is to sit in meditation and ask, which soul stream walks with me now? And your Christic phrase is, we walk each other home. So you needed both of them, but this is the main message here is the oversoul companion. We walk each other home. I would love it if you, you should go check out my website. You should go check out my website. Maybe we should talk. Free call. There is a free call. Oh, I don't know why I'm grabbing the cards. Apparently I was grabbing cards. That's not what we're doing. We're going to learn some stuff. Because I like to teach. I really do. I like to learn, and then I like to teach, and I like to learn more and then teach more, and so on. Okay. Where am I going? I do know we have to talk about the weekly energy though, because this is the last week of the month. I can't believe that is over with already. Like May just flew by. It just flew by. But I keep telling myself I always have more than enough time, because I firmly believe that we're speaking reality into existence, right? So if I'm constantly going out saying, oh man, time's just flying by. If I constantly am saying that, then that's what we're going to be experiencing. And that's definitely what I'm going to be experiencing, is that there's never enough. So that's why I'm constantly saying, I am, or there is always enough time. I always have more than enough time. I always have more than enough time. I love it. I love it. Apparently, so does he. That red-winged blackbird is just giving us a whole bunch of information. All right, let me see where my notes are. Let me see. I have to check in on this as well. I forgot to pop on StreamYard. I have to put my comments on a different window, or else I don't see them. I forget to pay attention to them. So StreamYard made a little pop out thing, and then I forget to do it. So it's not helpful. I'll tell you that. Nope, it's not there. There. Okay. Our next full moon is on the 31st. So even though I do the celestial briefing on the Sunday, which is the 31st next week, I'm still going to talk a little bit about the full moon and what that means. I do all of my stuff based on true sidereal. So when we're talking about the sky, we're talking about the living sky that you can verify on any live planetary app. So the Sky Live is the one that I use. It's on the internet. You also can get an app for it, I believe, on your phone. But I just have it open on my computer all the time, and I just check it and, go with it. All right. But there were some things I wanted to talk about. So we were talking about somatics, and that's what Lila, Lum Era, Veil Om is somatics. And somatics reorganize chaotic structures. They align the solar plexus with higher will. Like, there's so many things that the syllables mean, what their vibrational tones mean, what their harmony is, right? And I need to look that up. I have notes on Veil and on all of them, but let's see if we can look at a couple of those, right? A couple of those portions and see what they talk and see what they say. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. I gotta search for it because I know I have words on it. I know I have it in my notes. I think it's, I think that there's a reason why. And anyway, I'll tell you in a minute. I'll tell you in a minute when I get there. Okay. So the way that the Lila is the harmonic bloom, the twin spiraling petals, vesica wave intersection, and a fluid figure 8 bloom. Okay. And what it does is it opens the field gently. It creates emotional softening, it's nervous system receptivity, this harmonic synchronization between the left and right hemispheres, and it's this feminine receptive coherence. Beautiful, the Lila. It resonates in the upper body, like in the heart, in the thymus, in the vagus pathways, and the emotional waters. And it says to receive without defense is what the underlying energetic role of Leela is. Receive without defense. Then the Loom era is the light epoch. The light epoch, or the era of illumination. And in somatic geometry, this is a radiant solar lattice, expanding crystalline spokes, and diamond wave emission. The Loom era activates remembrance, awakening intelligence, luminous cognition, higher pattern recognition. This tone produces a more geometric field than Leela would have. That was much more gentle, remember? It is ordered, it is radiant, and it is mentally clarifying. It is associated with your pineal, with your optic pathways, your crown, and your solar heart. I was getting really dry there. All right. The energetic role of Loom era is illuminate the architecture hidden within creation. All right. I told you I had Veil. Veil is the living harmonic current. This is the vertical spiral current. It is toroidal circulation, flowing energy rhythms. Veil creates movement between dimensions, and it circulates energy. It connects inner and outer fields. It harmonizes transmissions and allows consciousness to flow. Veil is often associated with etheric circulation, auric coherence, and dimensional permeability. The body resonances in the spine, the cerebrospinal fluid, the meridian channels, and the auric layers. Veil says, move as living current. And Om, the primordial stabilizing tone. It is a central circle, a toroidal compression wave, and universal standing wave field. The frequency function, Om, seals and stabilizes the entire phrase. This is grounding, integrating, harmonizing, and universalizing. It transforms the phrase from activation into embodied coherence. The body resonance is the entire nervous system, skeletal resonance, the lower belly, and the earth line. The somatic effect of it all is it's a concentric harmonic symmetry, a stable standing wave geometry, and a unified coherent pattern. And the Om says, become the resonance. So the harmonic resonance, the harmonic of all of that together is receive the luminous architecture and move as a living harmonic current in unified coherence. So let the light of creation bloom through you until you become the song itself. How beautiful is that as a translation? I love it. Yeah. You would really toning that out would be just beautiful. Do you ever do that? Do you ever tone it? I will. Here, what? Wait. There. I followed you back. I followed you back. I'll check out your stuff after. Ooh, go away, Geeter. So yeah, I work with, I love to study all kinds of things. So I was a nurse by trade for over 20 years in emerge and management and flight nursing. And I did all kinds of cool things, to be fair. And I left that to start my own company in helping people heal trauma and mental health, which I realized was just phase one of the awakening processes, dealing with your shadows and your traumas and, reclaiming your inner child. And, it's the return to self, which is what I call my trauma healing program. And then I started teaching because part of the healing journey is spirituality, right? After being a nurse for all that time, then when I got sick and I looked towards the medical system to heal, it failed me. And what ended up healing me was that I actually started to look at not just my body or just my mind, but to look at all of it combined and to incorporate the spirit. And the spirit was a huge part. So when I started to actually do the things that are really aligned with who and what we are as divine beings, then I couldn't really stay aligned with that type of job anymore, because I saw it for what it really was. And I realized that the whole system's just broken. I mean, when you get in the awakening phase and when you really know things, and you're just like, okay. And I think we know things. We know some pretty dark things right now too. So we're meant to just focus on the light. And a lot of people will say, well, that's ridiculous. No, it's not. Not everybody is meant to be the front line. Not everybody is a soldier. Not everybody is that type of an individual, right? Many of us, the best thing that we can do is bring our oversoul into our form, like to connect with our monad on a daily basis, to bring our oversoul into form, to live as the spiritual beings as we are, embodying the physical as much as possible. That is how we raise the vibration. Right. And that's what we're meant to do. We're just meant to speak the truth and live the truth. And, others will arrive as needed. But we're not here to directly say, hey, you need to wake up. We're here to wake up Mother by waking ourselves up and shining in our truth. And that's how we do it. And by speaking the things into light, right? I need to have a live on my embodied leadership circle. And I think I'm going to do that this week. I think I'm going to do it on Thursday. And I know that the individuals watching right now are not necessarily a part of that, or like maybe not yet, but that embodied leadership. There's some things that I wanted to talk about. I don't know what kind of experiences that you guys have had spiritually, but I've had some pretty interesting ones. I actually had an experience where I now question what is reality. Yeah. I open my mind to something and there's information that I have, but it's not stuff that you can talk about, unfortunately, here. I can there because that's mine. It's my space. So I do have to have a live so I can talk about some cool things. But on my own channel, on my own website, sorry. So then I can talk about what I want to talk about, and it'll be a lot more fun. It'll be a lot more fun. But we do speak the world into existence. I think a long time ago I saw a study or something, and they talked about how the birds sing the plants awake, so to speak, right? Like in the morning, there's something about that. I need to figure that out. But I sat there today and I absolutely realized without a shadow of a doubt that the birds are telling the plants to grow by their song, and the frequency in which their song is and the variation of birds that you have is going to coincide with the variation of life that you have around you, because it's the frequency. And I could see it, and I could almost see it like do 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 do, like going in the as they're singing, like the frequency. I could see it going like that, and like literally like calling the stuff awake. And I could hear this is but I could hear the plants growing. Like it was just one of those moments where I was like, what is even real? Like, what is even real? And but not all is for sharing. Exactly. At least not publicly either. But yeah, I had that. I was just like, what is even real? But that's, so be careful what you're speaking, because you are speaking it into reality. Okay. I will look at that. I know bird song is very relaxing, very, very relaxing. Okay, let me get my notes on the week ahead. We'll do that. We'll look over our celestial outlook, and then we can talk about silly things or awesome things. We do whatever we want. Yes. Yes. I save every bird, I save anything I can. I save everything I can. And when I can't, I always do a sacred ritual every time. Um, yeah. Some beautiful, beautiful sounds out there tonight. Okay, so this week is going to carry this very specific progress because we move from refinement into balance and then into emotional truth. Have a wonderful night. It was lovely to meet you. With Sun and Mercury, we're moving from refinement into balance. And we go into the integration on the 31st. And like I said, next week on the 31st, we'll be talking, and I'll talk more about the full moon on the full moon. But I want to talk about it before the full moon so that you can also be aware of it beforehand. So you can be prepared, right? So we also have the Sun and Mercury in Taurus with Uranus. Where there is a strong emphasis on stability, grounding, and what can actually hold. That's what Taurus wants. It wants that long-term stability, grounded, it's the earth element, the very grounded earth energy. At the same time, we have Mars in Aries. Mars was in Pisces for so long, and that made us really stagnant with our energy. It was very thoughtful, very slow, more emotional in a way. But now that we have it in Aries, well, that's where Mars is at home. So we have that increasing momentum happening. We also have Venus and Jupiter in Gemini. This is amplifying our communications, our thoughts, our interactions, and the mental stimulation. This might be a great time to think about how much input you have in your life, right? How much stuff is coming at you all the time, noise and stimulus, so that you can turn that down a little bit. But beneath all of this movement that's happening, something deeper is building. And we have the moon moving from Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, and Ophiuchus, which is bringing us through this full corrective sequence that culminates in the Scorpio full moon. So this is not a week to bypass what you already know. This is a week to see clearly what is stabilizing, what is surfacing, and what is asking to transform. Okay, so before we look at the sky, I just want you to notice how much movement there has been recently. Like maybe even you feel that you've had more energy or that you've had more forward momentum, that maybe you're feeling a bit more creative these days, or you're starting projects. Maybe you're becoming more passionate about things. Maybe there's more you're feeling more clear about things or more aware. Underneath it, though, something is deeper is building. And this is the week that is going to bridge into that deeper layer because we're moving towards that Scorpio full moon. And Scorpio doesn't stay on the surface, right? Scorpio's deep. Scorpio's deep. All right. So we checked in on the energy. I talked about collectively what was happening. And now we're going to talk about our celestial roll call. So we'll just go through where everything is in alignment this week and then what we're looking at. So we have the Sun in Taurus right now. We have Mercury in Taurus. We have Venus in Gemini. We have Mars in Aries, Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Pisces, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, and Pluto is in Capricorn. The moon is going to progress. Right now it's in Virgo. It actually just came into Virgo today. And then Libra, Scorpio, and Ophiuchus. The Scorpio full moon is on May 31st at 2:45 a.m. MST. So by the time I do my live that day, it will have already went by. So I want to talk about it today. And so you'll be prepared that maybe on Saturday night, you want to do something. Okay. So what is Taurus season? Taurus season is what can actually hold. This is where Taurus starts to your energy slows down enough that you can see what really has substance. And I've noticed that in my own space, right? Within the role that I'm doing at my company, right? I'm looking at, well, what are the things that I really want to teach? What really has sustenance? How many groups do I really want to manage? How many lives do I really want to have? Or what is it that I really do want to be teaching? What is in alignment? And that's what we're looking at, is what has substance, what can hold, what is going to last. It's not what sounds good. It's not what's feeling exciting for 5 minutes. It's what's actually holding. So the Sun and Mercury being both in Taurus is emphasizing stability, consistency, embodiment, and reality. It's a very grounded energy, and it becomes very difficult to ignore what is unstable during Taurus season. The moon is progressing through the corrective sequence, and we start with it in Virgo. Remember, Virgo likes to refine things, and the things it likes to refine is your environment. So if Leo had you all passionate about running a marathon, Virgo comes in and says, okay, well, then that means we need to work out. That means we need to lace up our running shoes. That means we need to review our diet, whatever the changes that need to be made, because Virgo is devoted to your highest self, to your highest path. That's what Virgo wants. So it's going to keep refining things to get there. And so that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at that correction, adjustment, seeing clearly what is not working and what is. And not from shame, though, but from just being aware. Then we're going to move into Libra. Now, Libra energy is about balance, right? And it's a lot of balance within relationships. This is where we're not looking at just refining ourselves or our environment, but where we're looking at refining our relationships with others. And that's in more of the balance. Where are the relationships in reciprocity? Where is there an even give and take? Or where are there energy vampires in my life? Or where are, there are people that maybe I need to be giving a bit more to because they give to me frequently. That's what we need to be looking at, because we want to be, or the Libra energy is going to make us look where the energy flows naturally and where it constantly creates tension. And where we're seeing that constantly creates tension is where we're going to want to change things. Then we come to the Scorpio moon, and that is when the depth begins. Scorpio brings the emotional truth to the surface, so things become harder to avoid. And that's not because the sky is punishing anyone. It's just because the truth is intensifying. And we can't do anything about stuff like that unless we know we see it, right? If you don't see it, you can't change it. So we want it to be brought to the surface. So that's why we really appreciate Scorpio energy. So I included the Sunday, because on Sunday it goes into Ophiuchus, but the full moon is on Saturday night, it's Sunday morning, but it's at 2:45 a.m. So, and then later that day it goes into Ophiuchus. So I figured I would talk about that, because Ophiuchus is the energy that integrates. It's very healing, it's recalibrating, it is correction as well. And this is where transformation really becomes possible if you face the truth, though. And so that truth that gets revealed on the full moon with Scorpio energy, we're going to have to integrate it with Ophiuchus. And only what you integrate is what will last and what is going to carry you forward, what's going to create any change. That's where you make your transformation. So the Scorpio full moon, like I said, is on May 31st, but it's at 2:45 a.m. And so that's technically like the wee hours of the morning. And we could consider it to be kind of like Saturday night. So I figured I'd talk about that now before we have our next live, which is 31st, but it's at like 6 p.m. So the full moon will have passed. All right. So this full moon is not subtle. Scorpio never is. Scorpio is a very intense in energy. They're rarely subtle. They reveal what has been sitting beneath the surface, whether that is emotionally, relationally, psychologically, energetically. And because this full moon comes after Virgo refinement and Libra balance, what's being revealed has already been building. And this is not random emotion. This is accumulated truth becoming visible. So something's coming to the surface. All right. And we want that so we can deal with it, so we can move beyond it. All right, so I'm going to do the teaching stream, and the teaching stream I wanted to talk about today is revelation versus reaction. Because that's Scorpio is going to reveal some things. Scorpio intensifies what's already there. Okay. And this is where people often react instead of observe. But Scorpio is not asking you to react. Okay. It's asking for you to be honest. Whatever is unstable will feel more unstable. Whatever is hidden becomes harder to hide from yourself. And whatever's real deepens. And we want that energy, right? We want to know what's real. We want to, we don't want to be we want to know what's the truth. We want to know what's the lie. And we definitely want to know when we're lying to ourselves. So Mercury in Taurus is grounding our thoughts. It slows things down enough for clarity to stabilize. Venus and Jupiter in Gemini is increasing communication, interaction, and mental stimulation. People may feel pulled in multiple different directions mentally, and Mars in Aries increases impulse and momentum. There's more willingness to move, more directness, more impatience too. So Saturn and Neptune in Pisces continued to dissolve false structures while asking for deeper embodiment. Hello, Liz. How are you, love? Uranus in Taurus continues restructuring what stability really means. And Pluto in Capricorn continues exposing what is no longer sustainable at foundational levels. This is where we're seeing the structures fall, right? Because Capricorn is asking for integrity and integrity in those structures. I am, love. How are you? I'm quite well. I had a wonderful Sunday, which was really nice. So we have our embodiment practice, and this is what I teach, embodied spirituality. So I want you to ask yourself, what truth keeps resurfacing? What feels stable? What's creating tension, or what keeps creating tension? And what would shift if you stopped resisting what you already know? Some really good questions. So I'm going to repeat them. What truth keeps resurfacing? We have to check in on our patterns. What keeps coming up, there's a reason why. It's coming up for us to review it and to make a change. And until we make a change, nothing's going to change, right? So we have to remember that. And if it keeps resurfacing, why are we not, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we not learning from it? What are we not seeing? What are we not moving beyond? What limiting belief are we holding? What unhealed version is there? What part of our nervous system needs, regulation? Whatever it is, right? Whatever it is for that particular thing. What feels stable, whatever feels stable, that's what you're going to want to invest in. That's what you're going to want to hold on to, right? That's the solid structure. Where you start, it keeps creating tension. There's a reason why you need to look at that. Why am I getting tense? Where am I getting tense? Indicator of why you're feeling tense as well. But also looking at what it is, right? If it's always the same person that's creating tension in your life, or it's always the same scenario that's creating tension in your life, why do you keep revisiting? And what haven't you learned, or what haven't you seen yet? And then what would change, or what would shift if I stopped resisting what I already know? What would shift if I stopped resisting what I already know? Well, you are the creator. So what are you creating through your belief systems and through the things that you're saying and the things that you're doing? Because you choose your reality through the choices that you make. It's as simple as that, right? And our collective reality is the choice of all of us. We're all making it by what we invest our energy and our attention in. So if I give all of my attention to things that are really disgusting and depraved, that's the society I want to see more of outside of me, because that's what I'm putting my awareness on. That's what I'm putting my creative power on. that I talk about, I speak into existence. And you think that you don't, but you do. I had a revelation today, and that was, if you speak about other people's problems, you need to understand, you need to reflect on why you have a problem, because you do. You have to have a problem because there's a reason why you're talking about other people's problems. It was one that was just like, wow, that is very true. Why there's something there that you need to be looking at, right? Because at the end of the day, what's going on in anybody else's life is not affecting you unless it's a part of your life directly, right? So if somebody, if we're if we're in that space, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I read when I was speaking. And it does that sometimes, where I'll see a word when I'm speaking, and then I just boop, it pushes it right out of my head. So what would shift if I stopped resisting what I already know? That's a good question. All right. So we do all of this work. We do all of this stuff, right? We're learning how to, we're learning our truth. We're revealing who we are. We're finding out our truth, right? The truth of who and what we are and how we're meant to live. And then we're living it. That's my whole idea of spirituality, is to learn the truth of things. Right. So I like to look at things like sacred geometry, or I like to look at somatics. I like to look at quantum physics and mathematics and astronomy and astrology. And I don't know, I look at a lot of things because I like to just, learn things. I like to look at the stuff that happens across cultures and across timelines or time frames. Because when they pop up in different times or different cultures or different spaces, you have to wonder. It's like the car accident when they get everybody's perspective. It's the overriding perspectives where they overlap, where they find the truth. So when you're seeing these things overlap consistently, that's where that leads you to the truth. Right? There's a reason why, across every culture, they talk about the chakras, right? Because they exist. It's true. And so that's the way that you find your way to it, is through researching those things. Hi. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the stuff that I'm talking about these days, and I'm teaching embodied spirituality at the end of the day. Yeah. And what are you doing these days, Liz? I do know I need to send an email out to somebody, though. Mm-hmm. Hello, guys. Hello, ladies. Hello, everybody. What are the things that you're fascinated with right now, or what are the things that you're learning, or what are you focused on at this time? Like, is there something that's like really fascinating you lately? Um, you know what? I never even shared out my live. Right. In your quest for enlightenment, or in your pursuit of spirituality, or in your healing and awakening journey, what are the things that you're really interested in, or what are the things that you're learning that fascinate you, or are you into doing any of that stuff? Some people don't care to learn really new things unless it's like more applicable in the sense of making money from it. They don't want to learn beyond where it's productive, I guess. Mhm. Hello. Say hello. Let me know where you're from. But yeah, I love to talk about things. I love to learn things. And yeah, I like to share knowledge too. Hello, hello. So nobody wants to share anything that they're fascinated with learning about right now or that they're interested in learning about. Hi, Tintin. No, no one wants to share their exciting things. Um, oh, how many things? How many things have I okay. I talked about how I love to learn about somatics and acoustics and toning and all of that because sound is powerful. It's a powerful healer. I call myself a nervous system specialist because I love the nervous system, and it is something that is more important than we realize in multiple ways, not just in our healing journey, but in our awakening, in the way that we pick up information, the capacity we have to hold things. So I love the nervous system. I look at the spine, spine as antenna. I've researched dimensions. I don't know, on and on. Hi, Sagittarius. Right, like I just love to learn new things and explore these types of topics. I've read Gnostic texts. I've I've read a lot of books. I've done a lot of research, and yeah, I like to learn things. What do you like to? Or what are some things that you'd like to learn about spirituality? Nothing? Nothing? All right. Well, maybe the next time that I go live, you'll have some questions and you'll have some ideas of stuff. Maybe there's things that you really are interested in learning or that you've been learning that you want to talk about. We can have a conversation about it. Maybe you'd like to learn more about some of the stuff that I've been learning and you want to have a conversation about that. And we can do that too. You can ask me about some of the things that I've been learning. I have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of notes on stuff. Mhm. Yeah. And if you want to work on some healing stuff or you want to work on some spiritual stuff, we can do that as well. But I'll be back on Wednesday to do that then because you guys are being very quiet. You guys are being very quiet. So I'm going to hop off. You guys know what the week is ahead. Be careful. Just allow the refinement to happen. Be honest with yourself. Pick what's steady in your life and let go of what is that's unstable or that is creating tension. Allow those things to happen. Integrate, and I will see you on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. when I return for embodied wisdom, which is embodied spirituality at the end of the day. It's just about learning, learning and growing and evolving, right? That's what we're all meant to do. We're just all walking each other home. Okay. All right. I love you guys. You have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and